Yep, we're doing this again, doing this show again. This little thing called, oh, and Lamar already showed us a cup. He's like, we can't even get through an intro without seeing a cup.
It's water.
Seriously.
I was
That's
showing
what
that
they
it's
all
the
say.
Eugene, it's the World Championship Cup.
Oh, the one that everybody has 20 of.
Yep.
Yeah, got it. Well, welcome one, welcome all. Another fun episode of Athletics LLC. We obviously have some additional tiles with us tonight, but we'll get to them in just a moment. I want to check in on our guys and then we'll click over a little bit to the other ones. But Sir Lucius, how are you today? How are you doing today? Wow.
I've been accused of being cantankerous already, so I guess I'm doing well. Doing awesome.
Apropos. I mean, when you're on top, shouldn't you be somewhat cantankerous? Just saying.
Dealing with
Plus
some of the
said it,
people I have to deal with
living
on
on
a everyday basis, then
Love it. Love it. So in following suit, Lamar, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm very good. I wanted to welcome one of our two guests, so I figured I would try to,
it is the Bucket Brigade,
Right?
be part of the Bucket Brigade.
I mean, we definitely should leave that for him to do. We'll leave the peanut head alone.
Oh boy.
Clyde, how are you today?
Anytime we have guests, I'm good. That means I hear less from the EP. But it's a good evening and welcome.
Last but very not least, doing his job, coming in, just making sure his job gets done. The governor, thank you for joining us today.
How you doing? Just making sure I'm not sounding like I'm should be in a sick mess hall or something. But just getting over the flu right now. But I had to be on the show. I was, when I heard about the guests, I was like, oh yes, definitely gonna participate. So very happy to be here.
Is this like the Jordan flu game for you?
Oh yeah.
I like it.
Wait, so here's my question. Because
45.
inquiring knows, minds need to know. Did you get the flu shot already?
Oh no.
Are you a flu shotter?
No.
Okay, got it. What? Who are you answering for him? You don't stick your arm out?
Because
Anyhow.
Governor,
Yes, sir.
exactly.
stay vigilant, baby. Don't do it.
Exactly. All three of them tiles in the middle, ain't not one of them gonna have a flu shot.
Yep.
Man, I
Oh
don't have
my
mine
God.
either.
Oh my goodness.
See?
So,
So let's welcome some guests because this is what we do in our lives, right? So we've got a dynamic duo, of course. If you don't recognize these people, again, for the second week in a row, where are you? What are you doing? And who? What? So definitely got one of the best jump coaches across the nation, internationally, some would argue, and then one of the also best complementary jumpers to make him a best jump coach and vice versa. Together, we've got Nick Peterson and Marquis Dendy. Thank you for joining us today.
thank you.
Glad to be here.
Yay! Yay! I know, right? Right? Love it. So that was us being nice. Now you're in open season. So get ready.
Buckle up.
Right?
Here.
Gentlemen, floor is yours.
I'll start with a fun and I think an easy one, but I just really want to know. I mean, it's been no secret if you're a fan of the sport that Mr. Dendy has had to battle back through some very, very serious injuries. And me personally, I enjoyed watching him this year, be, near the top of his game again. And so from both of your perspectives, I just want to know, how this season ultimately felt and about the journey, the long road back.
I mean, I'll start. I would say in a lot of ways we were happy with this year, and then on the same side of the coin, very upset. The one meet that mattered the most didn't go the way either of us wanted or should have gone. So obviously there's something to that. But from a training standpoint and Dendy being back at the top of his game, it was less is more. To be able to, Dendy can't handle the same kind of volume and the same type of stuff that he did when he was a young pup. And in those early, I joke now that we do 2 fly 30s or a 120, and Dendy can't do anything for 3 or 4 days. He's just done.
Wow.
But I mean, it's not just that too. It was every day was, Marquis, how do you feel? And that kind of changed on a daily basis. There were days where Dendy showed up and there was no sprinting happening that day, and we had to get creative and do stuff. And there was other things involved. He's a father now. He lives a little bit further away. There were some things that came into that. But overall, it was a collective effort to make sure we keep him healthy. And as we say all the time in our program, the best ability is availability. And I'd rather do a little bit less to make sure that he's healthy. So that was probably the theme for our year.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Excuse me, before Marquise answers, I want you to stop acting like he could have done more than like maybe one more fly 30 than he did in that workout you just mentioned when he first got here. So but anyway, go ahead.
Well, that's true. 2 was always like a max, or that
Exactly.
start coming on and start
Yeah.
throwing up. So there's that.
Right.
Oh, he ran the first one in 270, and we were just, that's good. We don't need any more.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's good.
First, second was
A
pretty
lot
fast.
of those days, right?
Yeah, third one started to get a little too bad. You just sort of chalked it. But yeah, I think it's always interesting because I personally don't really reflect back on the years until right around this time. During, I guess during my entire season, it didn't really hit me until when I got finished that, I really only had maybe 10 meets in total, even with the extra meets on the side, it really wasn't a lot. If I start from indoor, I had a meet in New York, indoor USAs, indoor worlds, and that was a little scratchy. So even in the indoor worlds, I was like, dang, I really, I could have performed better if I say, it's whatever. And then come outdoor with the early worlds, it just was I couldn't fit any meets before USAs. USAs was my second, third meet outdoor. And that was a little scratchy. So it was my entire year that I felt when I kind of reflected on it back was dang, if I just had more opportunities to just kind of get high stakes meets, to where, that I can, have that ability to go out there, get situated, jump, and then come back and kind of assess. We really just didn't, I would just say that we didn't watch enough just meet film. We usually watch a lot of meet film. We always watch a lot of meet film. It's just kind of our thing. We kind of go to meet, we assess, we, make those changes. But a lot of it was just more training based, which I'm a guy who loves training. I don't mind that. But the line in me needs to kind of keep sharpening that iron, kind of peel scouts back and kind of, get that heart rate moving up and kind of feeling okay, there's 10 bands on the line. It's time to go ahead and kind of get up instead of it being a LSU or a collegiate meet where I'm just kind of going and kind of going through the motion. So, once I kind of realized that, I just needed more volume. But coming off of, I tore my patella tendon in 19, and then you get hit with COVID, and then you have to hurry up and scurry to get ready for Olympics, and you had that Olympic drop. So it was it was a little bit of a lull here and there, kind of fighting through that too, which is what I kind of assessed. But, I'm always hard on myself. I just really felt this season was just a scratch again. I'm back now in that mirroring. Okay, now with this whole fall training, kind of getting back, I should definitely 100%. I'm back to 100%. And so now it's a making sure I stay healthy in that indoor prior to outdoor part, because again, just like how last year in 2019, I got hurt my first outdoor. So then when we came back from that Achilles or those other things that I was just kind of battling up in 2016 and 17, 18, I kind of was a little low. 19, I was feeling really good. Then I got hurt again. So, it was frustrating in the beginning, but I feel honestly, I just hit all of my injuries now. I tore my labrum, I tore my Achilles, I tore my knee. Those were literally the main 3 things that was bothering me when I came to college. So I was well, it's annoying at the same part, but I think what always keeps me, happy and glad the fact that I can wake up now and I don't feel like I'm stepping on glass. You know what I mean? I can, I can do a whole lunge, you know what I mean? Or I can bend down 45 degrees and my knees don't hurt. So those things that I enjoy, that, yeah, it's like I had to get under a knife in my season, you know, people talk crap and all that other shit or whatever like that. But it's like, you know, I know that without those things impacting me, you know, if I was good with those injuries, because I'm a tough dude, once you just get fixed, now I know it's just a matter of just getting my feet right. So, you know, I'm now ready to take on that more volume. But this past year was just a reflection of just not having enough meets. And I feel like it was because we were trying to definitely, you know, it's not gradually get back into it. But again, it just was, you know, a lot of this were circumstances that were kind of out of my control. You know, I mean, it's hard to fly to overseas meets, you don't have no money and stuff like that. And now it's not a lot of American meets, you know, and even with the American meets, it's not the quality, you know, so, you know, it's a lot of, you know, annoying things I can't control, but really it just came down to just more high stakes meets, more meets that I just kind of wanted more volume with. So that way I could be more prepared just physically, not so much mentally, but just, you know, because there are times where I'm on the runway and my heart is beating outside my chest and I have tons of adrenaline, and then now over push. And then I keep over pushing and then I take an extra step that I didn't need to take. And then I try to correct it. And then now I'm running on the runway, not understanding what's going on. It's just a matter of just knowing that, okay, boom, I just needed more of those high stakes meets. So it just was volume. And I feel like that's where it came from. And I think, you know, kind of going into the next season, you know, obviously, you know, doing, I guess I would say decent. I don't think I did that well at finals, but you know, we'll talk about that later. But I feel like now, you know, with everyone kind of like looking at me, oh yeah, I'm the bucket hat guy, I'm jumping far back again. Now it should be no problem me getting invited to meets, and so then I have the opportunity again. So I feel like, you know, I've had to keep proving myself, and I continue to kind of like, you know, you get hurt, people don't know if you're all the way back yet. You come back, and then you jump far, you get invited, and then things kind of go back into the same smoothness. So it just was a matter of meets, and so now that, you know, I feel like I'm gonna get more meets next year, I don't think it's gonna be any problem.
It's uncanny listening to you talk. I hear a lot of parallels between what you accomplished in college and then what happened in your professional career. And first of all, let me just say that you deserve all the credit for being here now, because a lot of jumpers would have already called it a career.
Absolutely.
You already do an event that is undervalued, that is not appreciated. The opportunities are not there. So we already know that part of it, okay? But here's what I will say, and this should give you some energy and some, you know, optimism, is that you have now cleared a lot of hurdles, right? You're 29 years old, okay? Been there, you've done that, okay? By the way, do you know what you did in college in terms of the long jump and the triple jump? Do you know what happened 20 years before that? So you went 868,
Yeah.
71.
Yeah.
20 years prior to that, somebody did the exact same thing. Let's see if you I think do you know?
And it's
Lamar?
in a dual jumper, and he did
In
long jump.
1995.
I was 3. Let me see.
Jamaican?
You don't know.
He's
You don't
Jamaican,
know.
am I correct?
Yes,
Is he
he
Jamaican?
Okay,
That's
yeah,
what
I know
said.
who it
Yeah,
is.
I know who it is
Yep.
too.
James Beckford.
James Beckford.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got that. I was actually thinking American. When she's Jamaican, I said, well, my bad.
Yeah.
I was out.
He went 868 and 1792 in 2 days at the JUCO Nationals. Well, we won't talk about where it was. Odessa is I mean, we won't go there. West Texas, I mean, hey, you never know. But you'd ended up, you know, winning some world championship medals. But your stick-to-itiveness, you know, what you've done, I see a lot of parallels. I won the majority of my medals after my prime, okay? And the thing that I think you are understanding now is that it's all good for regular season and all of that, but what really matters is the championships, right? And you stated something very astutely about needing meets. Okay, you cannot undervalue the how much it means to get a couple of 840s under your belt, 830s under your belt. So now you're walking into the championships knowing you have this done, knowing that you've done it a couple times on a bad day. And that's where the championships are won. The championships are won with the people that have that extra in reserve, and they know that when they need to call on it, they'll be there.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm very, very happy for you. I absolutely loved Monaco. That was fantastic. That was super good. So yes, I am following your career. I'm excited for you in 23. Stay healthy. I think the plan right now with Nick is the plan that should be in force. Less is more. Make sure that you're ready when it counts. Yeah, man. Excited for you.
Thank you. Yes.
Love it.
Yeah. Whew. Like I said, this could be fun. What I've loved watching with you two is the number of things that the number of obstacles that have been thrown you guys' way, and there's never been a waiver. And I always thought that was cool, because a lot of times, especially when you're younger, when things don't go well, a lot of today's athletes, they point fingers at coaches and don't take blame, and all, and all those other wonderful and crazy things. And you two have never seemed to be anything other than thick as thieves, and I always thought that was really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's really incredible, because I mean, let's just from the injury standpoint, and I say this wholeheartedly, he believes it. From the day he tore his Achilles, he woke up the next day and he firmly believed he was breaking the world record.
Nice.
And it wasn't fake. It wasn't like fake it till you make it and like bravado. It was real, and I mean, shoot, the day I had to pick him up out of the sand pit and put him in a wheelchair at our own, meet, I mean, that bond, there's some bonding there that just you don't get through any other but blood, sweat, and tears, and yeah, he could have easily and he never wavered. He's always believed in himself and what he can do, and he's never wavered at all. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, for sure. And what's funny is that a lot of it just came out of like college. I would personally say that I would say that there's a lot more turmoil and struggle like in our college days and in professional. Like, yeah, I got hurt like a couple times, like, yeah. But like it was a lot of times where I just was like, it was a lot of that connection just came from this mainly in college, because I'm always bring this up, Coach Holloway. I remember the day, it was the summer of after my freshman year. Coach Holloway calls me and he's like, I know, because my previous coach, Coach O'Neill, he left me, but prior to the Olympic trials in 2012, and this is when I was like, all right, I'm gonna make this team. I'm gonna be the first. I know I'm 18. Like I've had this when I was born. It didn't matter. I knew I was 17, 18, about to turn 19. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm about to make this team. I'm about to start putting on University of Florida, this, that, and the third. And so, but I really didn't have like much of any coaching there, because I mean, Coach Holloway was there, and Coach Peterson, to my knowledge, now was there, but in TCU uniform. But Coach Holloway was there, but like me and Coach Holloway, like we haven't really got in on the coaching on the long jump aspect. I mean, now obviously he's great because he was there at Monaco. We moved past that. I'm saying he's
waiting for that conversation.
Yeah,
it was definitely coming.
Getting brought up.
But my freshman year, it was still very, very new, and the only person I knew was at the time was just Coach O'Neill. So yeah, I left. He moved to Ole Miss. He just was like, look, I promise. What I'm saying, we're gonna get you another coach. If I can't find you another coach, what I'm saying, let me know, and I'll let you go anywhere. That's why I said, listen, I didn't pick the school to be. I never wanted to be a portal transfer person. That was from the beginning. It was two things I never wanted to be. I didn't. One of them didn't really work out. I said I never wanted a person just like I guess get surgery, or like I get hurt done up to get surgery. I don't know why that was in my head, but then I said I never wanted to like be a person that like transfers from school to school to school. I was like, if I pick this school, which is why I took so long with like making my choice. I was like, if I pick this school, I'm going to finish out like the entire time, good, bad, and different. If I quit the crack team and I finish whatever my education, I'm going to finish it. But I'm not going to be jumping from school to school. So I was like, Coach, I'm going to be here. It's really just a matter of whether or not they can bring the best out of me. And, you know, sure enough, Coach Peterson DMs me. And he had sent me a very long message when he was at TCU that I ignored because I wasn't going. And his very next message was, hey, I'm going to use University of Florida. Go Gators. And I was like, go Gators. All right, I see you.
We
When I get
responded
there.
very quickly
August.
to that one. I'll tell you that much.
It was within a minute. I was like, oh wow, go Gators. I'll see you soon. And then I mean, from then on, it just went up. I think it was I think the moment that I like really realized that, okay, boom, I got like, you know what I'm saying, I wouldn't say me get my shit straight, but like me personally, just like kind of like, you know, I never wanted to, I guess, see my coaches or like staff just be like, dang, like, you know, but like that like actually feel defeated was in 14 indoors. And
You know, I remember the exact
we
moment.
were super sick. It was the girls should have won. Me and Sierra didn't score at all. It was just bad. Like, you know, we were sobbing. Like, it's the first time I cried. I saw him crying. I was like, yeah, I'm never ever gonna see this defeat like this on all of it. Like, even Coach Holly was just like, everybody was just not. It was a very low period. I just was like, I don't care what happens after this. It's never like, I'm never going to look around and see this ever again. And then I think from then on, it just went like, you know, and I kept kind of keeping that standard. And I think that's what, you know, just kind of kept me from like, you know, like wavering at anything. Cause I felt like, you know, there's a lot more battles that I felt like, you know what I'm saying, we had to kind of go through, you know, just in college, that like anything that kind of came in a professional standpoint, especially with me and like me being hurt. Cause I ultimately knew that if people enjoyed watching me in college, you know, I tell people all the time, you're going to love me now that I'm like stitched up. So, you know, it's just a matter of just getting my body back, you know, on par, just condition wise. Cause I mean, it was, I think it's 15 outdoor, after I did long jump, I was like, Coach, I don't even know if I'm going to even get you 4 points. I was like, I'm beat. He just was like, and this is the right after long jump. So he's like, you got a day off, see the trainers, get right, get mentally checked in. And I just was like, Coach, I never say this, but I physically don't know what's going to happen. You know, 17-71 and then I won. So it was like that. But you know, so
first jump.
But yeah, and I just was like, I was like, hey, I did it and this is it. We should get the dub. That's it. And so it just was a lot of those times where I've had to persevere through that turmoil when he didn't necessarily know. I mean, I didn't verbally say, oh yeah, by the way, my knees is falling off the bone and my Achilles hurts. I just was like, I may be a little sore. And I always would downplay it. But, you know, in the back of my mind, I knew in my head how painful I felt. So I felt like if I could just get this fixed, then I'm going to be fine. And but I never brought it to, I never wanted to go willingly on these nights because my mom's a doctor. She just was like, Marquis, you need surgery, don't ever get it. And I just was like, okay, cool. So I would always just rehab and get the massage. She's like, once it actually, whatever it like naturally goes through and it rips off, then okay. But if you don't, I never willingly just was like, hey, I probably should get surgery, which, you know, probably would have saved a lot of time. But I just was a fighter. I always fought. And so like, you know, that's where it kind of came from, that, you know, just kind of stand tall. And then kind of like with that combination of college and kind of like, you know, with the group of guys. And I feel like, you know, it's a little rare. Like, I mean, you know, I look around, you know, recently, some of those same guys that are around now may not, you know, be able to have handled it like as well as I have. I mean, I see a lot of people that was in my class that, you know, did just get like, you know, maybe a minor hamstring thing. And they just was like, I can't do it. Or, you know, or maybe it's just something that they're just not really progressing the right way. I never really took it as okay, well, you know, I guess comparing things to others, I always just comparing things just to time. I would just say, yo, how much time do I have? Like, you know, I'm like, you know, when do I want to be done? I was like, you know, 35, 36. I was like, okay, cool. So, you know, I'm 26 or I'm 27. I'm doing things better than people who are doing in the world. So, you know, I can give them time to catch up for my body to kind of heal. So I kind of never really had that, you know, I guess, fear of what would happen after surgery. It just was, I'm finally better now. Like, I'm finally like, I feel so much better. So I can walk without being in pain, or I can get up in the morning and do a jumping jack. So it was those things I was more excited for versus the fear of whether or not I could long jump again or do anything athletically. It just was the fact that I actually felt better. And so I think that's a lot of what carried me over to just with the track, and then even with just my mental, and then even voicing that and kind of telling that to someone else who's had a similar injury. It's always been really easy for me because, like I said, I would feel elated. I mean, after my patella tendon surgery, I wanted to get up and walk away right off the bed. Like I was like, all right, finally, like my knee doesn't hurt anymore. Like it doesn't, like it finally cool. So of course everyone restrained me and kept me on the bed, but I really did want to get up and walk away. So, but
So,
yeah.
so wait a minute.
Rightfully so.
So wait a minute, because you referenced a lot of some things in there. I have to ask both of y'all this too. The men's horizontal jumps on the world stage take a lot of hits right now. Like, right, the narrative out there is that it's subpar to what it used to be. What do you guys think about that? I know you're working to disprove that, but overall, like, what do both of y'all think about that?
I mean, I think, Coach Holland and I, we've had this discussion recently too, people think that, and the mark Coach Holland and I talked about is 8 meters. People think 8 meters is far. People think 27 feet is far, and it's not. And until we as whether a country, USA, or collectively as a jump, we have to decide that 27 feet isn't far, and we've got to start breaking those barriers and start, training towards jumping 28 feet and pushing the envelope and making sure that we're leading from that this is where we're going, and not being elated that we jumped 26 feet. And that's never going to get us anywhere, and that was, from our program, we talked about all the time, 17 meters isn't far, we're not trying to just jump 17 meters, and 16 meters is like this magic mark in the triple jump collegiately right now. It's like everybody is like just trying to jump 16 meters, and it's not hard to jump 16 meters, so I think a lot of it is a mindset standpoint. We've got to change our mindset collectively so that we can help the next generation develop. We've got to hold them accountable and push them to where the horizontal jump should be, especially with the tradition we have in this country, for sure.
I don't envy you one bit, because when I talk to young athletes about my era, the fact that Carl and Mike were still jumping when I got out of college, I mean, it was pretty much set. It was pretty much set in stone that 850, 860 wasn't good enough. So
Yeah.
you had the greatest duo in the long jump in the history of the event just there. You could reach out and touch them, and when you watch what's happened over the years, there's been one, you had the Dwight Phillips era, you had the Saladino era, you've had one and maybe two that were in that range, and it's changed now. I mean, so it's one of those things where I feel personally that in order to break through that barrier, it will require a moment of madness. I mean, and I don't know, for you, Marquis, if you can remember what happened in that 868, but that, I mean, in a nutshell, you could bottle that up and just, have it there. But it's a different level when you're going 860 plus. It's a different level in terms of speed. It's a different level in terms of the speed of takeoff, your trajectory, all of that. And, again, with Nick, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, and as long as you are reinforcing that, hey, 840, no, 850, no, 860, we need to go that and beyond, then there's a chance, and as long as you're going home after practice, not happy with a decent day, and I tell people all the time, I spent my career ending the year every year pissed off. I never ended a year during my collegiate or professional season happy, because I mean, when you're chasing the greatest long jumper ever in the history of the jumps, yeah, it's humbling, so I don't envy you because you don't have that. You're trying to create that within your own self,
Yeah.
trying to figure that out, every day in practice.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think, and it's funny because a lot of people got on me before. I think when the standards, I guess like when the standards went up, I just was like, I mean,
Well, that's
yes,
too
like
far.
I
That's
didn't really
too,
rap. Everyone was just like,
Yeah.
oh man, it went from 820 to 822. That's ridiculous. That's 27 feet on the dot. Like, and I'm just like, I mean, 822 isn't really that far. It's the reason why they're raising the standards. And of course, people want to politic and the rankings this, and then when people have the rankings, I'm just like, regardless, 820s really isn't that far. And I remember when it was like 815, 818.
Yeah.
I remember back, I don't like that. That was like 13. And so it was like, and I remember when it was an A and a B standard. I remember stuff like that. So it was just like, just kind of giving, I think when we finally established that, and stop giving people just, I guess, anybody just opportunity to just
Exactly.
be available to compete as world champions. I think a lot of the issue is that people mistake, more participants with more viewership. When in reality, if you have less participants that are actually really, really good, but you had that'll attract more people to view it because you're actually watching quality people,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
through and through. So I think that's what the issue is, that they're trying to increase viewership by increasing participants or the availability. Like, if you have that local guy who's, didn't really make a varsity track team in high school, went to a JUCO, but he's training all his life. He goes to USA's and barely gets on the team. He's not meddling though. So it's like, people want that. People want that, like that, like that one Rudy story, but that's not how track and field goes. So I feel like, and then, there's that kind of changing that. And then it's also more so just all the quality guys, like, like if I were to have it my way, I think, a diamond league or an event with all the guys who have touched 860 before, always competing together, should be a no-brainer. It's not as many long jumpers as there are sprinters. So I get how, there could be 29 9-8 guys that you gotta decipher who to put in. But if okay, boom, he's hit this in his career, he's hit this at these times, we just want to put those guys around. Just tip us around like a circus. You know what I mean? I think that's
no politics, no,
it's
whoever
no,
you get,
you got a guy here who's
no,
here,
your agent gets you there.
from this, country. Let's put him in. Let's add 3 guys from our country for the team. No, don't do that. It's if you've hit 850 plus at all, you know what I mean, and because let's just make it high enough to where not everybody touches 850 a lot. If you've hit that 850 plus at all, you know what I'm saying, you've done it in your career, you should be able to go, okay, boom, these are our 8 to 9 guys for our diamond league, and then or have it to where if you want to get to that 8 to 9, you got to either outrank them or beat them on a head-to-head, and then maybe we'll be able to kind of add you in, sub him out. But it should just be a solid, I can count like the 6 or 7 or 8 guys that I've jumped with that have jumped 860s or 850s or like that. And so for him to be like, oh, I couldn't get invited to this meet, or I couldn't get into this meet, it's crazy because it's just like, and so kind of getting that, kind of making it seem, okay, who are the core guys who are jumping far, put them everywhere. I feel like, because they do it for the sprinters all the time. So I feel like, it's just a matter of, I guess, like you said, mindset change and kind of like, but I remember when I jumped 860, like just I think that's what I'm always yearning to go feel that fight again. It's been times where I felt the speed, maybe not the knee lift or not the arm movement, but it's like something that, and then there are times where I do feel like a smidgen of that, and I get out and I'm excited because I felt a little bit of it, and I'm kind of getting closer and closer and closer. But then, it's like, I'm definitely, waiting to feel that same exact fight. And I also want to have, again, just because, I know how competition can definitely bring out the best of you. I want that 2016 Olympic trials experience again.
Yeah,
That was my favorite
They
competition.
take 20
I
to
got
make
hurt,
the
but I don't care.
final,
Damn.
you know, 836 is sixth
Yeah.
place. You know,
Yeah.
it was
See,
like,
and see,
that's where that should have been a launching pad.
Yeah,
And
that should have been the point where everyone stopped all the talk, and it should have been, we should have started carrying and taking and moving from that point, because that entire field, there was no one's gonna bring that up and say, you know, oh, every, you know, long jump in America is bad except for that 16 years. So it's like, but I mean, I just feel like that we can do it. There is that. I mean, we have the Americans, and we have even the international athletes. It's just a matter of, you know, one, obviously staying healthy, and then just kind of getting that core group of people always, you know, competing with each other. I think sprinters always do these hot times because they're always running against someone who is going to around them. So I mean, if we have just two guys at a Diamond League who can jump over 830, and then you got the rest that are jumping like 8.0s, it's, I mean, yeah, it's still exciting, I guess. You know, you're at Diamond League, but it's not the same when you know right after you, someone's going to bring 840. And then right before you, someone just did it. And it's going to be the entire 3. And then now you got to actually like go and wait for the actual reorder because it's so many specific numbers. So I feel like when you kind of just can predict it, it doesn't make it as fun either. You know, I feel like if you have it to where it's, dang, all these guys are within 2018 indoor worlds. It was a 2 centimeter difference between first, second, and third place. It was 846, 844, 842. That was insane. And so like stuff like that happens. And so like, you know, and so like, you know, there are these moments, but then, you know, it's like, you know, they want to politic kind of change things around and kind of make it better for the viewer when it's not necessarily better for, it's not for the viewers, for the athletes. And so like, you know, the athletes can bring out all the viewership, but I feel like if you put us on a higher pedestal, you know what I'm saying, and make it for us, I think that's what will actually change before they even change that whole, you know, rhetoric of 8 meters is far. I've heard that so many times. Like people go, oh yeah, I jumped 810, and you know I should be able to get a contract or something like that. I'm just like, dude, that 810, it's not good at all. It's okay to get to SECs. Like that's like we're gonna go real local here. But I mean, I don't know. It's hard, but every time I say something, it's always, you know, you're being cocky or you're doing too much. So
no, see, that is one of the fundamental differences between, you know, the era in the 90s and into the 2000s, where it didn't matter if I was in Carousel, Italy, little small town, or it mattered, or if it was in Rome, it did not matter. If I knew that Pedroso or Beckford was going to be there, I was going to be there. And that is how the long jump, I feel, is going to raise its profile. You guys have to jump against each other. You know, like the whole point of this whole exercise is that by the time you get to Worlds, you should be sick and tired of seeing those guys, right? You should already have enough ammo in the back of your head to know when they're going to make their move, what they're going to do first jump, how you're going to knock them off their pedestal, all of that stuff, you know. And I hate it that, you know, that we're in an era now where, you know, the politicking and all of that is going on, and, you know, whether it's meet promoters that are trying to make sure their guy gets some praise or whatever, but it's hurting the event, man. I mean, and it's painful. It's painful to watch. You know, and hopefully like you can come out on the other side, man. I mean, because it's the most, in my opinion, it's the most beautiful event to watch. It's one of the hardest events to do in track and field, and it's the most underappreciated event in track and field.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
Can somebody go down to Cuba into the nightclub and get my man out off the mic and get him back to long jumping, please?
Yeah, he said he trying to party. You know, he don't pay him enough. That's what he said. So
I mean, that's hard to watch and listen to. Not only him singing. I mean, just that the sport, because we talk about this all the time on the show, right? That the sport has created these tiers within itself that didn't used to exist. and there are legitimate second and third class citizens that are elite, and that doesn't make any sense. Like, it used to be a gold medalist was a gold medalist, and that was it.
Yeah.
And now, like, literally, there are tiers, not just financial tiers. There were always financial tiers, but there's like actually like respect level, amount
Like
of
medal
meets amount of meets you
Yeah.
can do, you know, the amount of exposure we will even allow you to have within the sport tiers. And that's insanity. We talk about it on the show all the time, that it, like, I don't know when it went left, but it went left hard. And I'm not sure, and that's weird for me, but I'm not sure how we get it back. I have ideas, obviously, on how to get it back, but the implementation is difficult because we talk about this on the show a lot. There is no accountability at the very, very apex of the leadership, because there is no accountability at the belly. Like, you guys as athletes globally can't unionize, so there isn't, like, track and field is not a league, right?
No collective bargaining.
There's no CBA, there's
ability
no, right? Nobody can definitively say what a professional track and field athlete is. And I've been talking about doing this, and I think I got a little bit of time before I start heavy into some things. But I think I'm going to go through it and see. I think I said to Clyde, like, my idea, I think is like the PGA Tour, where if you took the top 20 in the world, they would automatically be card carrying A-level members of World Athletics.
Mhm.
And then 21 to 30 would be, we'll call them taxi squad members, right? So, like, if you're 22nd in the world, if you get hurt that year, you're not going to be, like, you got to earn your way back the following year, right? But if you're 15th in the world and you get hurt, like, you're automatically back on the scene the following year. But that 20 to 30 group is the group that is that keeps people hungry.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Because you can lose, you know, they get to go to Diamond League meets and do things, just not every one of them.
Right.
But knowing the number 31 doesn't have a card and he's coming to get yours, that keeps everybody honest.
Yeah.
But then you actually have a number, right? So, like, if you're Sebco and you actually were going to go try to sell track and field, you know what your actual, what your membership is, right? You can't even, I mean, nobody can tell you how many professional track and field athletes there are. It's not a number.
Someone would just say a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, what qualifies you as professional? Like, do you have to make more money than you spend?
So like, someone had asked me this question too, like just from that bar. And so I had to explain to them. I was like, well, I guess you become professional when you just earn prize money, or when you participate in meets with prize money involved, and they paid for some type of airfare for you, or somewhere to stay. That's the only that. And so he just was like, well, that's what you paid. I was like, well, I mean, that's because I mean, I can go to a meet, I can go to one meet and get 2,000, or I can go to another meet and get 30,000. So I can't sit there and say each meet is worth this amount. It's just a matter of, I went to the meet because I got invited, and that means that I'm professional. And I accepted money, and he just was like, so it's not like a, you know, like, I guess he kept trying to compare it to football. Like, where was it? Like, so like, do you guys get a game check? Do you guys have jersey sales? I was like,
That's the point. But that's the point, right? Because there's no actual professionality, and it's not a league, and there is no defined membership. Those are all the revenue streams that can't exist, because who wants to buy something that's ambiguous?
right. And they don't really know.
You're literally just throwing money up in the air and watching the wind blow it around.
I guess
The people on this panel know more about track and field than anything, and there's a lot of it that none of us can understand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How's the general public population supposed to understand how track and field works when we're all trying to figure it out, how it's changing?
Especially 18, 19 events specifically. I guess, how do you find someone who's only a fan of, you know, pole vault, and then make them be a fan of the 10,000, and then, you know, like that.
Marquis, do you know what track and field was like when it was not professional?
Not well. So I remember I talked to my aunt. So like my aunt Terry, she ran professional for a little bit.
Yeah.
And she explained to me, I guess, like, I guess, a brief interaction where I guess it was just more so, I wouldn't say it was, I don't want to say like less stressful, but it wasn't like you didn't, I guess when you got paid, like after the meet, they actually paid you in cash or something like
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
so it wasn't like, you know what I'm saying, you had to, you know, like, I guess wait.
so
Like, I
imagine,
paid my prize money from last season,
imagine this scenario.
so
Imagine
they would
this,
give it to you.
imagine this scenario. You get on the plane, you start at your first meet. You got 3 meets in 10 days, right?
Mhm.
You get to your first meet, your agent collects your travel money, right? So that first meet is $500. You collect your payment after the meet, 2, 3 in the morning.
In line in a
Okay.
dark room.
And there was a gentleman's agreement that the minimum that you could make was $1,000. Minimum. Okay, let's say you foul out.
Mhm.
You're still getting $500. Okay, cash.
Yeah, it's not bad.
You get on the plane, you go to your next meet. $500 travel. Okay, then you get paid at that meet, right? So by the time you get to the end of 10 days, you've collected cash for 3 meets. So
Mhm.
now you're heading home and you're nervous as hell.
Right, you can't carry
You
it
know
on.
what? Wait, hold on. Marquise,
You gotta
how
give it
much,
to your coach.
how much cash are you allowed to bring into the United States?
Let's see if you know this.
10,000.
How much?
10,000.
No.
Nope.
It's lower than that.
No, it's $9,999
Oh,
and
okay, so
99
about
cents.
So you can't bring more. Like, so it came to 10,000. Got to be under 10,000.
You can't bring 10,000.
No,
Okay.
It's anything less than 10, but you can't bring 10 or anything larger.
they will tax you
At the airport.
right there and then.
At the airport.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Dang.
So
If you tried to bring $100,000 into the country and they busted you, they would take $35,000 of
Yes.
that day
off of
right
you,
there.
right there and then.
Dang.
Hook
I
So
know
it
they
to
tell-
your
do that.
body,
Like, I don't
hide
know
it in
that.
all
Right.
sorts.
I was gonna say, tell Marquise how you guys got it in. This is the best part for me.
Oh, I mean, with shoes,
Shoes.
socks,
I,
you know,
I put
underneath the webbing in your
Yeah.
luggage.
I
in
put
your
I think
shoes.
$8,000 or $10,000 split into 2 $5,000 stacks underneath the insole of my Nikes.
Yeah,
Or they weren't my Nikes actually. It was
you had to
but
figure it
So
out.
your elevator shoes, as you
yes,
mentioned.
I was taller.
There was one particular year I figured out that as long as I was coming back from a major championships, like I was just coming back from Goodwill. All right, go through. Or coming back from Worlds. So I just make stuff up, but that's how it was. And I hate that you're going through it now, or you're going through. Has there been any clarity on how long a track meet can take to pay you after you've competed?
So because I'm notoriously always late in getting all my payments, I think it's personally to me. I don't know if this is about like anything else, but I personally, I've asked the AIU, I've asked World Athletics, I've asked like all the people. So I've actually got them on the email one time. And so what the issue is, and this is verbatim what they were telling me, that World Athletics actually has no control over when they send any funds out. Like none of them, like not anybody from any Diamond League, not no meet promoter, not your agent, no one. Who has the primary control is AIU, and anti-doping. So pretty much, essentially, is what they like what their method is, and it's painfully like not logical to me, and for a business standpoint. I'm not even a business major. I'm just just street smart. Like, this is stupid. So what they do is they wait until they test everyone. So like, say you got to meet, so like, for example, World Championships, they'll test people the week prior to World Championships, during World Championships, and the week after. So like those 3 weeks. And so once all 3 of those weeks of all those testings are done, no matter if it's they could have tested the same athlete 3 times, 2 times, 1 time, or just random athletes at all. They wait till all those collections are done, and then they go out and go through I guess in alphabetical order, name, place, and all that stuff, and then they give out, and then they go into, okay, well, did you ask to get it sent to you or to your agent? And so it's like, it's a very, very long, slow process. And so when I asked them, I said, okay, well, just for, just because I go to annual meetings, and so I asked them sometimes, like, hey, look, so why is it not a process in which, you can, I guess, pay the athletes like right away after the meet, without testing, but, still test. And then if it comes back any type of negative and like that, recoup it and fine them, obviously go along with your same ban stuff, maybe say, hey, look, maybe we're say we're going to give you a lifetime ban until you give us back this prize money and the fine, and then your ban goes to whatever, 4 years, 22 months, because you're snitching or like that, whatever goes on. But to withhold the money on people who have always been positive, like, and never have ever cheated, because of the possibility of someone else could be cheating, which is, I get how it could mess up the flow of money and stuff like that. But if your issue is like not paying someone 70 grand when second place should have gotten that extra, whatever the difference is, I get that, it's hard to kind of get that, give it to someone else. But there should be contingency plans for when someone does test and you're trying to pay out people, because this isn't logical. So I always bring it up. I'm like, yeah, so imagine you working a job and you worked an entire year and they didn't pay you until next year.
Yep.
And everyone goes, well, this isn't the same thing. I said, yeah, but that's what when I was born, I didn't think, okay, I'm going to start this to like do this track and field thing. I just know like, what the basic ways of the world is. You work, you get paid, unless it's slavery.
So all of this is a reaction to the amount of drug positives, especially the ones that have come 5, 10, 15 years later down the track, when they're holding the samples and trying to figure out, how they're going to get ahead of the game, and it's not fair to you. It's not fair to you. God knows, I've been there. I've missed a couple of house payments because of that. Like, it's not fun. It's not fun to deal with. So, yeah, that's there's still have a long way to go.
Yeah.
Smooth out the edges. What do you think of the final three?
Like that little like coat, like that little like after only 3 people get the last
after the 5th round.
Yeah, that's stupid. Again, it's another thing. It's stupid. I tell them, and every single time I get one of those little questionnaire things at the end of Worlds, I say, please take out, like, I saw my name too, the guy with the bucket hat, Marquis Dendy. So that's me. I'm telling you that this is very poor. It's very poor. I put a whole note in the back. I say, listen, I get how you, again, like, just trying to make it entertaining for people who are watching or first time viewers. I get. But even if I do get it on a 1% level, it's not doing anything, I guess, for the quality of the jump. Like, what I mean? We always, our thing is last one, best one. And so, I don't say that I'm doing my last jump. And if I somehow, some which way, get bumped out of that top 3, right before it's my time to actually jump, then it's like, well, I don't get a chance to actually respond. Yeah. And on top of that, I also don't like how, if you're in first, you now jump first.
Yeah,
that's also
that was the stupidest reactionary change of all of the dumb reactionary changes they've made.
That was really dumb because again, and it just reminds me of the time, because in 2018 this was an indoor. It was actually, they tried to implement this at Worlds, where it was like only the last, so like it was the last 4 people got to do their last 4 jumps, but then only the top
4 people got 5.
Oh, 4
people
people got
6.
People got the
right.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah. So I was in like 3rd or like, no, I was in like 5th. So I jumped into like 3rd or something like that.
You jumped into 2nd.
I jumped into 2nd, and then I had to jump right away. I had to jump again, like, because I jumped. So I went from a place, and then I was
there's no rhythm.
And like 30 seconds, I was lost. I was like, yo, I gotta jump yet again right away. And so like, yeah, it was like, I was like, yo, this isn't good. I mean, and then on top of the high jumps going on at the same time. So I gotta wait too. And it's like, it was really bad. So I never liked that. I also hated when they changed it, taking this from a minute to 30 seconds. I was speeding up my entire routine. Yes. It's like again, they're doing a whole lot to change it for the wrong type of people. Yeah. What I mean? And I get, like I said, like if you look at it from the outside in, that people who aren't athletes, that are just guys who are just thinking, okay, how can we get track and field more exposure? They just go, okay, we got to make it more exciting. When you're just not an athlete that has either done this sport or even really like a real true fan of the sport to really watch what's going on, because you wouldn't have changed it in the first place, because this isn't about changing how the competition works. It's just changing either the quality or just, I guess, making it more available. There's so many geo restrictions on track meets that's more of the problem on why track and field isn't getting more exposure in the first place than it is us taking our last 2 jumps. So I feel like, I can't even watch, like, or I guess retweet a track meet. In Monaco, it was difficult to even watch my own meet. You know what I mean? I just was like, this is crazy. So, stuff like that, to where, if they kind of go, and again, it's just all money and politics, but it's hurting the sport more than they're thinking that they're actually helping it. And it's definitely hurting athletes. A lot of athletes are way more frustrated, especially with a lot of these new age athletes that are coming in. Like a lot of people in my class kind of just, we just kind of obviously just kind of go with the flow type of stuff. But a lot of new people in these like younger classes that are coming out of college are just like experiencing. They're just like, this is crazy. Like, I can't believe this is what's going on. Like, we got to do something about it. I'm like, yeah, we've been there, done that. We felt you about 3 or 4 years ago. We tried it, and we just like, it's way too bigger, and it's too much bigger for us, and it's not enough people who aren't athletes. I mean, we gotta train. We can't focus too much on too many extra things. We have about four weeks outside the season to really be like change track and field, and then fall training starts, and then we're right back to what we gotta do. So yeah, it's super annoying, and it's just like hard because like, and even with me, like I've tried to like even get just more viewership with per person. As far as I feel like a lot of times, like during the COVID time, I would rally and kind of talk to a lot of the other American athletes to kind of get on, just kind of being able to kind of, I guess, create like a track and field channel per athlete, to where you would watch them, train, work out, whether they had a training group, they could kind of like a fan could watch your entire group and stuff like that, to kind of get you more, at least getting to understand, like, your training side of it. Kind of like, I think a lot of times people just see people line up on a runway or on a, on the 100-meter dash like that, and they don't really know the actual person behind the blocks. They're just thinking, okay, that person wants to win. But meanwhile, you have no idea, like, that guy's homeless, and he's he's been training since whatever his mom may have passed, like that. Like, everyone has a story, and so no one really knows those stories. And so that kind of gets pushed away to the side if you're not doing very well. So I feel like, as athletes, we can kind of do better to kind of, I guess, get more fans and kind of viewerships by promoting ourselves. But it's only but so much we can do when you have, kind of like an entire organization not really doing much of anything to really make it better. And it's super annoying. And then a lot of guys just kind of give up and kind of just move on and kind of just go, okay, you know what? I'm gonna put my head down and just win medals to get that exposure, which is kind of where I'm at. I mean, I know long jump is difficult. I know it's hard to kind of get that, but y'all gonna watch me if I jump 870 bucket hat. So, I win a medal with my hat backwards, or I'm saying, I do something antics like that. So I get it, but it's just it's frustrating. I see a lot of people just fade out mentally and not just physically. A lot of people just kind of leave the sport just like mentally, strung out versus physically. So it can get definitely can get taxing.
Well, so you've talked about a lot about viewership and being seen and whatnot, and that's been the reference for most of this conversation. So we're going to go in a direction. So Nick, I'm going to ask you first. Jump coaches Mount Rushmore. Who do you put up there so it's a good representation?
Is this NCAA level, right?
NCAA level, yes.
Yes, sorry.
So, I mean, I have to put my mentor on, of course, Gary Pepin. I've always really respected what he's done, and he's certainly on there. Bouchek Snyder is definitely on there. I would have to put Dick Booth on there. Clearly what he did at Arkansas was, and then my fourth one is a guy who I don't think gets as much credit, but it's Joe Walker. He whether it was Brittany or Stringfellow, or he was always producing, and he always did a great job. So, those are the 4 people I always looked up to and have always tried to emulate and be like. So those are the Mount Rushmores for me.
Okay. So Marquis, same question. Your tier. Who are the 4 NCAA jumpers that you would put on the Mount Rushmore to represent the jumps?
Oh, jumpers. Good. I'm glad you didn't ask coaches because I wouldn't have.
You're like that guy
Horizontal.
and that person.
I was just someone. I was like, I don't know coaches like that.
But Chu, are you now? You got to make it a little better.
Like,
Okay, yeah. So let's go long jumpers. Let's be specific.
Right,
Long
right.
jumpers.
long jumpers.
Let's see if you your history.
I was gonna say,
Well,
I know. I was like, if you need
will
help, go
remember
to
all the like. I know Miguel. I think it's Pate. That's his last name, right? Miguel Pate.
Mhm.
Yeah. Alabama. Yeah. So he can be up there. I had his indoor record is pretty
Yes.
far. So I know I was going for that. I was going for that for sure. So I definitely can put. I think everybody who's who was it? And then I do remember Savante names being brought up a lot by Coach O'Neill. He bring your name up a lot. I definitely would put Miguel up there. Was 4 people up there? Let me see.
Come on, you got to at least get. There's one obvious one you got to just come with right now. Let's go. I'm not helping you out either. I'm gonna watch you.
Look,
struggle.
he's like, I don't know where we're going.
I'm gonna watch you
This
struggle. I'm not
this
helping you
is
out.
hilarious.
Well, I'm just confused though. Like, so wait, what do you mean? Like, always goes to say like Carl at Tennessee or whatever like that.
He did jump collegiately. I mean, that's a thing.
So he did actually do the long jump in college.
Yeah.
Carl's up there. Yeah, so Carl's up there.
Christmas.
This is good.
This is
It
hilarious.
speaks to
You're getting an inside view of the coach-athlete relationship right now, a little
Yeah, Carl's
bit,
up there.
because he's gotten history lesson and been sent video of multiple of these people, and
No, I just honestly
right off the top.
I tell him all the time, I'm not a history buff. I'm just like a history like destroyer. Like if my name's out there, I kind of don't care. So like,
Okay.
but
There it was. That's what I was trying to tee up.
Okay. So do
but,
you know?
what I'm saying? I do need to know history a little bit, but I just don't know a lot.
All right.
I haven't taken the rest
So I just again. So this may not be anybody's particular Mount Rushmore of the men's long jump at the NCAA, but the list might matter. So I'm gonna give him the list.
Yeah.
Okay.
4th place on list is Kevin Dilworth of Abilene Christian, 847.
Okay.
3rd on the list, Melvin Lister, Arkansas, 849. 2nd, ironically, on the list, Kareem Street Thompson of Rice University at 856. And then the record is 874 by Eric Walder.
Eric Walder at UTEP.
University
At UTEP.
of Arkansas.
Yeah.
with the artificially generated 2.0 wind that they had.
It is a 2.0 perfect win.
There you go.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
Now, to be fair to Mr. Lewis, he is tied for 4th on that list with Mr. Dilworth at 847.
Yes.
I
So
think Kevin wins it
That's the
because
list.
he's
I'm
buff
not
now.
saying that's
He'll do it.
I'm not saying that's the Mount Rushmore, but that is the
Right.
list.
Right. No, that's a
Good
good.
place to start.
That's a good list. Yeah.
That's funny.
I want to hear what the rest of the panel gives as an answer to the question you asked, Nick.
Jumps coaches.
Jumps coaches Mount Rushmore.
I'll make it simple. Nick actually got the exact 4 that I had in mind. Those are my 4.
So it was Boo, Pepin,
Boo,
Booth,
Pepin, Booth, Dick Booth, and
and Joe Walker.
Joe Walker.
Okay. You want me to
Who's
go?
yours? Who's yours, Lamar?
This is part of what we were yelling about today, I think.
You were
Uh,
yelling.
again,
You were yelling.
you-
I was
Proverbial
yelling.
we.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
was
same line
yelling.
you use. What, you got something in your pocket? You got a
that's
mouse in your pocket?
thank you.
I do.
You're
actually.
welcome.
He's got something in his pocket. 'Cause,
I got
yeah,
you.
Mouse in my
he's yelling
pocket.
at us,
No order and no shade. My
It's
three
automatic.
that would come flying out of my mouth first would be Bouchek, Snyder, Dick Booth, Dean Hayes.
Hey, very good.
And I have done this revolving door round robin on the fourth head a multitude of times today. And I knew I would have won a lot of money that you put Coach Pepin on there, by the way.
I mean,
and that's not a
there's-
diss. That's
There's
not
some
a diss.
loyalties
Well,
that
same.
run deep.
Yeah. And I have a great deal of respect for Coach Walker. But I think my fourth one may actually surprise you. And I fought with this a lot today because this coach is kind of in the middle of things and there's still a lot to do. But just based on PBs of what they've coached, it might very well actually be you, Nick.
Mhm.
And I said that earlier today, is that I'm always leery of putting people on Mount Rushmores that they got a whole lot more stuff to do. But if you just look at the PBs of the people you've coached, of both genders in horizontal jumps, it's kind of hard to not put you on there.
I appreciate that. I mean, it's funny because, and Sir Lucius down there will grin at me because he's constantly challenging me. Never yelling, challenging.
No.
day.
Never yelling.
No.
He's
Okay?
challenging you.
He's at
Yes.
he's at this neck constantly, but he tells me all the time, remember who you are. And it's why him and I get along so well. And it's why we're as successful as we are, of course. But, I appreciate that. And when you've got talented athletes and you work hard and put them in the right place, things work out well for you.
EP, can I tell a truthful statement?
Yeah.
Please.
He didn't put himself there, so I instantly moved him to number 5.
It's funny because Coach Holloway and I, he preempted me with this question a little bit, and I don't know. I'm a lot like my father. My father doesn't talk much. He's very humble. He built himself a nice business, and he won't tell anybody. And I don't know if maybe my ego needs to get bigger, but I don't know. I asked the question.
No.
Can you put yourself on that list? And I can't. I'm happy that others would consider that, and I'm honored, but I can't put myself
I
on
got
that list.
one of the other things that was being yelled at me today. Right.
I feel like, because I feel like there should be a photo shoot where you take the team trophies per se, but to represent every champion or podium winner that you've had, take the picture.
There's
and
not
then you
enough
ask yourself
room. Where would you take that picture?
that. Hey,
That's what I said to Coach Holloway. I said we got to build a new building to fit all your trophies in there.
Yeah, right. And then what's funny? This guy won the empowerment state of Florida. It's crazy. He wasn't gonna fit that. He wasn't gonna fit that all that. It wasn't gonna fit. It wasn't gonna fit. It was too much. I'll just keep my house. It's fine. Not gonna fit. We're gonna put it. It's huge. It's like 50 pounds.
That's hilarious.
I'd be curious, Kareem, with your experience, what your thoughts are.
Well, Dick Booth, unquestioned. I mean, that era at Arkansas, will it ever be challenged? I doubt it. That was insane.
Challenge accepted.
Huh?
Challenge accepted.
Say that again?
Challenge accepted.
You gotta get some more like-minded
Absolutely.
individuals.
I mean, he does have 3 of the top 7 all time on that list.
There you go. Definitely, I have to throw Tom Tellez in there. And, you know, you can say what you want about, I mean, literally the only person that he has on this list is Carl. But I mean, Leroy jumped.
Leroy's down there too. I mean,
Yeah.
Leroy's 10th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And Leroy has a very slightly windy 28-footer
yes.
at Provo, Utah.
At college, huh? In Provo?
In Provo.
Yeah. Dean Hayes. I mean, the man coached until he died.
Yeah.
He
At a really high level.
At a really high level. And then number 4, I want to go Homer. Wen Yong Yang.
Coach Yang.
If Nick, if you knew, if I could sit down with you, have a drink, and explain to you what this man did with nothing, and I'm talking about, we're not talking about green hurdles or sleds or like, this man would just make stuff up. Dead serious.
No,
I
no,
mean-
I experienced that firsthand.
Yes.
I was like, we're doing what, Kareem?
Yes. And
We're bounding up one level of the on ramp at the football stadium.
yes.
What?
Yep.
Why? Well, because Coach Yang got somebody surfaced just one level.
Yep. Yep. I if this man had had a chance to work with other jumpers of my caliber, oh my goodness. There's no question. So that's my top 4.
I like it.
Got it.
I only have one very, very quick exit question for Dendy before they go. Dendy, do you know where you are on that list?
On the all-time?
NCAA all-time list. Do you know where you are?
No.
Damn it, man. You're 13.
Nah,
Tied for 13.
You know what's funny is because I
834.
didn't know how serious win empowerment was until like Coach Holloman, Coach Peter told me, because CT was on it, and it was like, you might get snubbed because they're just like that. It's like, what do you? I don't get it. Like, what? I don't understand why I would. Why would I get snubbed? Why not? But because they just. I'm like, I did not understand. And it was funny because my freshman year they told me to vote for CT. I never really know if he won or not, and so I didn't know what it was. When I came in, I didn't know what the pattern was. But then when I saw that he didn't get it, I was like, what is this? Let me figure this out. And he's like, oh, it's the Heisman track and field. I was like, oh, that's what that is? Well, I want to go get it. And that was at my sophomore year. So that was like, so yeah, but my whole desire was just to get that. And so wherever I fell on the all-time list, I just was like, yo, I want to be the best. So I went and did that. So yeah, I never really know. I actually don't ever know any of my stats now I think about it. I only know PBs because I write them when I sign them. Like people come to you at Diamond League meets and they have a ton of photos and they just like walk and follow you everywhere.
So they still do that, huh?
Wow. Oh my, it's crazy. I can't leave my hotel.
Hey, Dendy, I hate to bust your bubble. You have another 40 years of that.
Yeah.
Oh God. Like,
No. Look,
No,
they
they
find me. I've moved like 50
I get
million
emails.
times.
I get Facebook requests like once a month.
it's
That
been a
will
couple
happen
times
for
where,
the rest of
maybe-
your life.
They would send, I don't know how they got my address. They sent me like my photos to my house and was like, can you sign these, send these here? I'm like, yo, what the hell is going on? Like I came from, how do you know my American address that I just moved into? So yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, so I only really know my PBs unless when people say it when I'm about to get announced. Like when they say, oh, Marquis Dendy, like 7-time, 8-time All-American and stuff like that. Cause I really like, I'm just a person that like, I treat track how track treats people. Track and field is a very much what have you done for me lately sport. So, you know, I'm always like, all right, my latest is what I am. And so I got to keep making that better. And I keep trying to reset that every single time. So yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like, I mean, it's like, unless someone tells me or like jogs my memory, I won't remember. I'll just keep it. I just know that I want to jump past 868 and I want to jump further than 871. Those are the only two. So if I don't see those two numbers, 869 or 872 up, I have no idea.
You have to aim for 880.
Oh, of course. Oh, well,
Okay.
yeah. But you got to make that one step pass. I feel like once every single time you break past your PB, you can do another one very quickly. You just got to do it that first time. And but it always takes the longest going from PB, like a large PB again, So I've noticed that in my career that, you know, after I PB'd, I've PB'd again very, very quickly. It's just a matter of just PBing. And then, you know, then you can kind of get on the roll. You just got to keep feeling that feeling. So once I get to that 869, then 880s, then the world record comes after that. So.
Nice. Well,
But yeah,
now that
I have no idea. No.
now that we've jogged your memory as to what you want to do, need to do, and should do, we're gonna let you go to sleep and dream about that. And just
no, it's cool though.
drill it in.
My daughter sleep. You know, I get to sleep in a little bit later, waiting not until 2 tomorrow. So, you know.
Day 3.
Yeah. So, you know, I get to wake up at like 11:30. So I got my whoop on. So I still get my 10 hours of sleep. So yeah, I'm good.
Got it. Well, thank you so much, two of you, definitely for taking the time to come on and share some ideas and having a little bit of fun. Hopefully it was fun for you.
It was.
But
enjoyed it.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure to get the link. I think we know a guy that knows a guy that can get you the links to the show. But other than that, enjoy yourselves this evening and we'll talk to you again soon.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Bye, guys.
Take care, man. Take care, Nick.
See you guys.
Love it. That was fun. Nice. Well, man, that was some personality. No wonder the bucket hat works, right? It just rails them in even more. So
definitely looks better on him than on the EP.
Yep.
Just tonight is my night. I will just accept that. Tonight
it's
is
all
my
love. To absorb the love.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we did dedicate most of the show to our guest this evening and opening up that can of worms of things that we wanted to make sure that we got to the our audience. But if you all haven't been noticing, and I'm not sure how you haven't if you've paid attention to the show long enough, this carousel that we call the coaching carousel is off the chains again. Noted on this current date that we are recording, it is October 12th. And there have been moves, significant, insignificant, but significant enough in the last 5 days.
Yep.
Unreal.
Yes.
Unreal. So
Listen,
go for it.
Yeah. Leaving the individuals out of it, I find it unprofessional that we are still making hires at this date. And that's not, you know, people that are getting new opportunities, like that's dope for them. And I'm excited for them. Hell, I know a lot of those people personally, but I just don't understand from an administrative standpoint, like what world we're living in where people are being hired to new jobs 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks into what should have been training already. Like this can't be good, you know, for anybody, let alone the athletes. Like even if your new coach is dope, and in some cases they are, like what kind of, you know, mental, you know, madness are these athletes having to deal with all these super late moves and, you know, spinning of the last year's carousel right now.
I think I hear you, but like it's not great for the athletes that are losing a coach. So pretty good for the ones that are getting one because it didn't have one.
Sure, right? But you understand what I'm saying.
No, I do. I do what I'm saying. Okay, my thing is this: is that like it just again speaks to the blatant disrespect or lack of respect that people have for what we do.
Yeah.
Right. Because you would never hear about a football or a basketball or a baseball coach just getting hired.
Never.
Right. Never happened.
A coach would be fired, but there would not be a hire.
Right.
At this point, there would not.
And in order for one of them to get fired right now, it had to be something catastrophic.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right. You know,
so that's my point to the whole thing. You know, and like you said, like you got like major moves. Like I know one that comes to mind, like Harless Metters going back to FSU. That's big. That's really big for FSU. So was he at Colgate, right?
He was the head at Colgate.
Yeah.
Right. So that sucks for Colgate because now you're not only your position coach is gone, but your head coach is gone.
Yeah. I mean, they've named David Pickett. Prickett.
Pick is gonna be the interim boss. Yeah. And I know Pick's a great dude, like props to Pick, right? But Harless ain't even been there that long.
No.
2 years,
A year.
For a year. It's been more
Right.
than a year.
something like that.
He's been there
So-
since he left North Carolina.
Mhm.
Right. So it's the game is weird, man. It's wild right now. What was it? Frenchie's headed to Iowa,
Yep.
which is great. Props to Frenchie, right?
Co-head coach at SFA.
Yeah, that's a big hole too.
Yeah.
And that program, you know, he's been a part of, you know, some really great results in that program the
Yes.
last couple of years. So SFA is definitely taking a hit there.
Mhm.
And it's like you have to fill that spot in theory, right? So what? That spot's gonna get filled in December? We gonna hire at the convention or something?
Yes.
What's going on?
I mean, that was happening last year. And that's the crazy part about it all, is that like the coaching carousel, to Solution's point, the coaching carousel in the sport of collegiate track and field does not follow the collegiate calendar in
No.
any way, shape, or form.
Mm-mm.
The sense of urgency does not match the collegiate calendar at all. Like, let's be clear. If, like in Colgate's case, right? They're running cross country right now,
Yep.
Absolutely.
right? So you lose a head coach. So now, like, literally, someone has to take over a job that they've never done before
Yep.
in season.
Yep.
Right? Like, you're already taking a job that can be incredibly challenging and just make it like 3 times more challenging.
And let me ask this question to the king and the old head on the panel, right? It feels like this phenomenon is getting worse over the last 5-6 years. Is that just me having a wrong perspective, or were they doing this 10-15 years ago? It feels like it's way more out of control now.
Oh, it's way more out of control.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Way more.
It's way more out of
and-
control, and
the
track coaches
crazy
are
thing
getting
is,
fired and changing positions way more
Yeah.
rapidly than they used to.
and the thing that I can't seem to figure out here is like again, I'm gonna go back to the respect level here. Is like there's jobs out there where like there's like I want to say like FAMU doesn't have one person on their staff.
Wow.
They've hired somebody to kind of oversee cross country until they get people in place. It's almost November. You know, like Bethune-Cookman's coach left. Coop left and
3
went back to his
weeks
alma
ago.
mater 3
Like a
weeks
month
ago.
ago, right?
They still don't have a coach.
Oh.
You know, and it's just, I mean, I don't get it, and I can't tell you why it's happening, Clyde. I got no idea, but it definitely was not like this 10, 15, like even 5 years ago. What like it's just like this is. It kind of started after the pandemic.
Well, let's put it into context. How long has that Iowa job been open? That Iowa
Right.
job has
Long
been open
time.
June.
for a
Since
long
June.
time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Right.
that's a good point. Yeah.
So you're telling me like over the summer, there was nobody? There was no
This
one.
is just it's the same thing with the FAMU job. Like that
Yes.
job's been open since like last April or May.
Yeah, the job's
Right.
been
Yeah.
before.
Before
And
now.
all and all of us know at least one person, if not 3 or 4, that have applied for that job.
Yes.
So I'm like,
Mhm.
y'all can't make no decisions? None?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
So
It's
Southern Miss is now without their jumps coach.
Mhm.
mhm.
Yeah, because he went to Louisville,
Went
right?
to Louisville.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
But then,
And-
so here's my question. So we talk about the respect of the job and I assume this is from the administrative perspective, not necessarily from our peer level or whatever that's called. So then is part of the resolution, quote unquote, respecting our position in our careers and staying through the duration of the year? Question mark.
I mean,
Okay. I don't think people. Okay, so if you're the head coach at Colgate and you can go to Florida State, which is a Power 5 job, one that you've
Absolutely.
done.
Yes.
How do you look your spouse in the eye and go, well, you know, I'm gonna stay here and not do
Mhm.
that when I've been charged with bettering the life of my family, right?
Mhm.
right.
Exactly.
So my issue is not that, you know, Harless is going to FSU. My issue is that like even that Bob Bremen was in his position because, you know, Bob lost his throws coach in
Yep.
September.
In September. Yep.
Right.
Right.
That's the issue. Like what happened to the, we've all been around the NCAA meet years ago where people knew they had jobs open or coming open and they were walking around talking.
That was where you
Yeah.
started the process. You
Exactly.
started to meet and greet. And if you were looking for a job, dead man walking, and you just trying to network,
Exactly,
man. I mean, that's what it was.
I
But now it's kind of like whatever,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm never going to be the guy that begrudges Coach X from heading off to job Y if it's a better situation for them, their families, whatever. I mean, that's a personal thing to evaluate, right? I just think from an administration standpoint, I think a lot of the chaos that we're currently seeing in this space is because of the lack of respect, the lack of care and attention in April and May, when decisions should probably be made. Like if you're on the fence about keeping Coach X or not in April, well, make the decision in May. Don't start that process in July.
Yeah.
Because now you've created all this chaos.
Well, I'll add something to this, Clyde. It is happening in all facets of our profession. We just lost our head trainer. Our head trainer starts at NC State in 3 days.
Oh, dude, the athletic training market is
we're literally
is insane.
Halfway through our football season, and we are now advertising for a head trainer. I mean,
yeah. And you know what's weird, since you brought that up, I agree that it's similar in that basic respect, but I think it's also totally different because there seems to be the athletic training world has had a lot of people just straight up leave the profession, right?
Mhm.
So everywhere that I know that has that issue, it's literally there's no one applying, there's no one available. That's not the issue in the coach's profession.
No.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of available coaches.
Yep.
There's a whole bunch of resumes getting put in. Like, so it's, I don't know, it's tough. It's tough.
The only thing I would add to any of this, right, and this is, to me, has always been the ultimate disrespect. It's how long the hiring processes take.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right? Like on average, it takes a month to hire a track coach. On average.
Yes.
Some are much further, some are much longer. There are a few that are shorter. But I can tell you this, even in the place where they can hire a track coach in 2 weeks, they can hire a basketball coach in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'll throw this out there because I lived through that, right? My exit from Cal to take over San Jose State was relatively late in the calendar. But because I have, in my opinion, good, respectful, leadership here that cared about how this program was going to be put together moving forward, I was able to hire all of my assistants before Berkeley was able to replace me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
That is unheard of.
It is. And I totally respect the HR crew and the way they were able to free up the red tape for me to be able to get that done, right? On the flip side, I have a colleague of mine, I'll leave the school out of it. He's the head coach. He's the director of track and field. And he has no say-so in the applications come in. He has no say-so in how those go from application to hiring pool. The administrators take the applications, read them, fumble through them, present him with a group, and conduct the first interviews before he even gets to talk to somebody. That's nuts.
Yeah.
And that's actually relatively common, which I always have thought was nuts.
I've actually experienced that, Clyde.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I have. So speaking of, what is UCLA going to do? I mean,
We forgot about that job.
what are they going to do?
I mean, did we forget, or is it just?
No,
That's the thing. No, but that's what I'm
Is
saying.
that an official thing though?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I mean, it's common
we-
knowledge for sure.
Okay, so we know that. So UCLA has a sprint open.
Yes.
Great. I guess they'll hire him in December. Whoever it is.
But again, the carousel keeps spinning because more than likely, this is all assumption. Someone's got to vacate a spot to take that spot.
Mhm.
Correct.
Because
That's-
currently
that's how it always
that
happens.
we can think of, right? Someone who's jobless or who has retired or whatever the situation might be to fill that spot. It's going to be
Yep.
a replacement. And
But
so,
that's a major appointment, right?
Exactly.
yeah.
So that line should be long.
Insane.
So, wow. Well, I mean, if you're thinking and you're looking, we've given you a couple places to send that resume to. So go ahead and get on that.
Yeah, there's a job still open at Tulane also.
What?
Mhm.
Hey, Division II crew, Cal State East Bay needs a
Mhm.
director.
So does San Francisco State.
The Bay Area is a wonderful place to be. People, come on in. I'll give you a tour.
Yeah. So, and I mean, respectively, those places need, well, I know East Bay has one coaching position, but they're looking for a staff. San Francisco's SF State's looking to hire a staff. It's a lot, and it's, just got to put yourself out there and figure out what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. And those people who are putting you out there, I know I've put out several names a lot of times for a lot of different level jobs, and it's still happening. So figure out what you want to do, people. It's up to you. You're empowered to say no at this point.
The employment world and landscape is different than any employment landscape that any of us have ever seen while we were on this planet, right? Because there always has been talk about job shortages and deficits. And this, to my knowledge, I've been on this planet for 52 years. This is the first and only time where there has been an employee shortage. There are 3.8 million jobs unfilled in the United States right now.
Wow.
That's just wild. Like, I know people who are closing businesses or can't do greater volume in their small businesses because they cannot hire someone. And they're paying like out-of-pocket numbers, right? Like, for a job that would usually be $12 an hour, they're starting the job at $20 an hour and they can't get anybody to take it. So we are definitely, COVID did a lot of untalked about, unforeseen things to the United States that it's always going to be interesting to see how it shakes out on the back end.
So I'm just going to say this out loud and we'll move on. That ripple isn't necessarily negative because entrepreneurship and innovation is booming.
Way up. Yeah.
And so it's not negative, and I want to make sure that everyone doesn't get on that negative wave and ride it. Like, entrepreneurship is on a rise, and it's an actual degree, and it's something that people are thriving off of. So it's decisions, right? You are enabled to make a decision. So, I mean, hence internet coaching, but we shall move on. Clyde, would you rather? Are you
Oh,
ready,
yeah.
sir?
Sure.
God
Since I
damn
didn't
it.
know it was my turn. Go
I
for
know,
it.
I know. I think that, I always think it's gonna be fun. Anyways, Chipotle or a Qdoba?
I've never eaten at Qdoba, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm always disappointed when I spend money at Chipotle. So I'm gonna go Qdoba. Chipotle's not bad. It's just not worth the price you have to pay.
Yes. Would you rather bathe in the ocean or in a lake?
They both feel very dirty to me.
That's an easy question to answer. One is salty and
I was
one
like, one is salty and one is fresh water.
fresh water.
Well, then give me the fresh water.
There you go.
Got it, in a lake. Would you rather be the speaker at an event or a person of highlight in the audience?
Oh yeah, put me in front of the microphone. I'm good.
Chicka, yeah. Would you rather be able to play the piano or the guitar?
Oh man, I actually would love to learn how to play either. But I've never had the patience for either. So I feel like in my random, oh, what would it be like to be a musician? I feel like the guitar is more cool. So I'm gonna take the guitar.
Would you rather have peanuts or pretzels on your plane ride?
I do not eat plain food if I don't have to.
Clutch my
Um,
pearls. Oh my
no,
gosh.
no.
I was like, they don't serve either one of those in first class.
No, right. You know, the only food on the plane I will engage in is if I'm so happen to be in first class, of which there are no peanuts or pretzels. But when I was doing the soul plane travel portion of my life,
Oh my God.
were the choice.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Uh-oh.
And I did a whole
Wow.
/ dinner.
All
on
right.
peanuts.
Would you rather play
back
zone
when-
defense or man-to-man?
What sport are we talking
Got
about?
it. Answer the question.
I mean, man to man.
Got it. Would you rather watch Lord of the Rings series or Harry Potter?
Lord of the Rings, and it's not even close. I can't even get through. I can't even get through one of the Harry Potter movies.
Would you
Wow.
rather enjoy the sunset or enjoy the sunrise?
Yeah, I don't like mornings, sunset.
All right, gentlemen, the floor is yours.
If I'm up early enough for sunrise, I'm probably upset. Or I've had an incredible night, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
Would you rather spend 2 days with the 24-year-old Charles Ryan or the 29-year-old Charles Ryan?
Ooh.
Those are such specific numbers.
Oh,
Let me think. 24 versus 29.
Where were you and what were you doing?
No, that's exactly the math I'm trying to run in my head.
I know.
I'm bad at instant math. What years were those?
That's 24 and 29, so that's 2004, 2009.
Oh,
So just post grad, and then
Oh,
would
there's a
that be
method
like,
to my madness here. So
or just post pre art U? Is that about right?
no. It's 9. Yeah, pre-RU. So I was still at La Tech. I was pretty broke in both places.
Falling on a budget.
I'm gonna go 20. I'm gonna go 29. I was a happier individual in Louisiana than I was in Knoxville.
I liked you much better in Louisiana than I did you in Knoxville.
Fair enough.
Not like I didn't like dislike you in Knoxville, but I liked you much better.
is there a question here somewhere?
Hey, I was just commenting off your wonderful question. The pick on the EP hour is over.
I mean, almost.
No, exactly. Yeah. Like I wasn't aware that you made these decisions.
I am the EP. It absolutely is my decision to make.
Okay,
be
well,
clear.
there's certain so you being the EP of the LLC has nothing to do with when you get picked on. So just take it like a man and let's move on. So
Anyway.
we will let you know when we decide to stop picking on you. So answer your
Okay.
question.
I didn't know it was my turn.
It is now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you get to decide that?
I did.
As the elder statesman, yeah.
I see.
Exactly.
I'm not ready because I don't have a question yet.
Well,
Yeah, 'cause you're
clearly
too
the
busy
governor
piggybacking
is
on
over
mine.
there. Clearly the governor is over there cooking up some real madness because he's doing a lot of arm movements. So I feel like he's doing research.
Oh.
would you rather travel the world for free for a year or have $50,000 to spend however you please?
Only for a year?
Travel the world free for a year.
Yeah, that feels more valuable to me.
I had a feeling you would say that.
All right.
Renaissance man.
Yeah, and I don't mean value as in monetarily, like just life value.
Experience. Yeah.
Yes.
I was trying to to decide between several petty questions because you're the petty guy. So
Well, you are the EP, so you can indulge yourself with two.
nope, I'm good. I settled on this one. Would you rather be Jordan Poole, knowing that the world knows that you got your face caved in, but you're going to be a Warrior next year and sign a veteran max contract? Or would you rather be Draymond Green and have won the streets' opinion as to who the man is and almost certainly not be a Warrior by the end of this year?
Yep.
And no chance you're getting a $28 million veterans max contract.
Okay, first of all, I take many, many issues with your premises here. I do not believe at all that that's the way any of that is going to play out.
Ooh, well, that okay.
I don't believe that.
We'll talk about that off air.
We could talk about that off air, but I'd much rather be Draymond Green in this situation from every possible angle. There's a universe where I want to be Jordan Poole in this scenario.
I knew it.
Not even a little bit. And listen, we do not know all of the facts of how we got to said punch.
We know enough.
But we know enough, and I'm just going to say this. It seems that Jordan Poole wrote a check that his butt wasn't ready to cash. And this is what happens.
Mm-hmm.
It also is obvious that the Golden State Warriors didn't care about any of that until the video surfaced. Everything was good across the water.
Let's move on.
Until somebody leaked the video. So
it's always good until there's a video.
Clearly, the Golden State Warriors are hiring, the depths of the FBI to find out who needs to be fired, and it ain't Draymond Green.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where I'm at with that whole scenario.
Well, supposedly, I mean, they don't have to work that hard. They probably already know who leaked it because they know who paid them.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, somebody,
that
person and whoever connected to the leak is what the Warriors are focused on, and they need to go.
It was funny today. One of the talking heads was actually useful for once, and they brought up a possible scenario that I don't even want to, like, this would be the deepest rabbit hole possible for the Warriors. And they were basically saying that, like, if somebody associated with Poole leaked this as a direct career assassination on Draymond, and I was like, wow.
Yeah,
that is not far-fetched.
That's my point. I hadn't even thought about that angle, and then I was like, now that I've heard that, I can't unhear that.
That is not far-fetched at all. And again, look, I'm not advocating violence. Shouldn't have done that. But it's pro sports. Baseball, basketball, football. That happens every day.
Wait,
every day.
This is the one part about this I take severe umbrage to. I have heard Draymond's actions called a sucker punch.
Not at all.
On every single station. And I'm like,
not at all.
A sucker punch is one that is unwarranted, that comes from nowhere. Yep. If you push me, I have the right to fold your face in like a tent.
Yep.
It's not a surprise attack.
Okay, first of all, we're giving way too much time to this idiocy. And second of all, I want anybody on this freaking panel to raise their hand when the man walks up to you and puts his chest on yours, and you're not gonna push him away.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. So don't act like he didn't have reason to put his hand on. Because the man put his chest on my chest, I'm pushing that away. I'm gonna be smart to put my hands up so I don't get knocked out.
I mean, let's be clear.
He was warranted in pushing that man away. And I would really like to not talk about this because it's a very bad look for us as a people.
I think most people on this panel probably would have hit Draymond first.
For walking up on him.
And we need to read the governor's text because I'm in the same situation. So we need to.
All right. Well, as a blanket heartbeat prop, we want to lift up Sir Lucius's mom, who recently underwent surgery. She's in recovery, and we
Thank
just want to
you.
make sure that she's continuing in that way. So a little
Thank you
shout
very
out,
much.
uplifting and love towards her on her healing process and getting back
Appreciate you
to
guys.
whatever this is. So
Blessings upon
Um,
blessings.
yes,
Blessings on
absolutely.
blessings.
Always and forever. So everyone have a great, great, great week. We'll see each other soon. But other than that, left, right, and turn left. See everybody later.